Here is a zone for a geodesic dome made of bamboo, which we call a star dome. And we have these two curved beds here. One is oriented to the northwest and the other one's to the northeast. So this northwestern mound here that curves and catches that light is where we plant our tropicals. So things like jackfruit, macadamia nut, tropical lime leaf, mango. There's some of the plants in our what we call our climax plants in the palette, and also in the triangular sections on the end are rainforest plants from Australia. So they sort of bound it. I think, like, in terms of design, it really speaks that, you know, the outsides of our gardens are held by those natives. So these native triangular beds over here are not just local, but they're also productive. So they're like medicine plants at the same time. So this mound over here faces northeast. So both of those mounds are supporting the South American plant community. So the aspect they have, they receive the morning sun, and they are sheltered by the camphor laurels to the west. So they do get some buffering, and in that plant community we have things like jabba, avocados, a mango as well, and on the inside of it, the more exotic plants like guavas, jabba, which are single pick fruits for the kids, so they get that immediate, you know, charge from the fruit, and they can pick again. So many of the species from South America fit in Australia because they're in the Myrtaceae family. Not all of them, but many of them are in that Myrtaceae family. So it means that they have the same pollinators, but they also have a resistance to the pests, like the Australians do. We plant everything in a polyculture, so we try and represent at least 5 layers, like a herbaceous layer, which might be comfrey, and then we have a small shrub, which will be one of the salvias. Then we'll have a legume all the time. We're using a perennial, but a more of a shrub legume, which is Indigofera here, and then we'll have a climax understory and a climax canopy. We'll also then include ground covers like nasturtiums, and that protect the root zone, but also encourage pollination. And as shelter belt, we're using local species, you know, from like the tea trees, or leptospermums, callistemons, that'll also provide habitat and biodiversity, but you know, sort of give us that protection from those strong southerly winds. And then as we move into the garden where we have all day winter sun, that's where our vegetable beds are. So that's the main production zone. Toward the north, we have citrus on those citrus mounds, and then we have a space at the front of on the northern end of the garden adjacent to the preschool, which we've zoned for a chicken house and a chicken run. So once the capacity of the school's built and we have staff that are interested, it's mainly parents and kids, you know, then we can get our chicken house and they can range through there, and then we'll start to extend our citrus. We have a mulberry right by the yarning circle in the northeast, and we have dragon fruit to the west, and we have a west-facing mound that has species that are from the Mediterranean. They can handle those harsh western suns. And I guess straight to the east we have a mound there that has all the South American species. So they're the ones that kids love to harvest. It's close, but what it does, it encloses the sensitive part of the garden, which is where the annuals grow. And then in between our bamboos and our South Americans, we've pocketed, you know, the soil production. So eventually when the forests rise, you know, the view amenity to the compost will reduce, but also the trees will also, you know, then provide shade for that area as well. So yeah, so there's some of the elements at play. What we're looking to do is get an outdoor kitchen here with a bread oven or something like that to bring that fire element in, and a positive experience about fire and culture around that, and also to bring community in as well, and make it more expansive for the rest of the school community.